Gang violence is the most...
Terry Gould is no stranger to the threats that journalists face.
We have 3 people down shot.
He first tasted that fear in Vancouver, following his reports on Asian triads and the publication of his book, Paper Fan, about gangster Stephen Wong. After that, Terry and his family lived under RCMP protection for 6 months. In 2005, Terry read a bulletin from the Committee to Protect Journalists that set him on a new course of investigation. The report listed the 5 most murderous countries for journalists, all places where the killers go free. Terry learned that most of the slain reporters knew they'd die but kept telling their stories. In many cases, they predicted their own deaths. Terry wanted to know who these courageous men and women were. He wanted to put a human face on those statistics. Terry promised his wife Leslie that he would be careful as he set out to travel in the most dangerous places in the world. He spent his own savings backed up with a book contract from Random House publisher Ann Collins.
Terry is outraged by injustices. A lot of people share that trait, but very few want to put themselves doggedly in the face of it. Terry grew up in a place in Brooklyn. Organized crime was all around him. He came to Canada in a way to get away from the kind of precepts that he could see all around him in his childhood, where what you got was based on who you knew and what you did under the table as opposed to your qualities. Nothing impassions him more than a person who will stand up against a crushing authority.
In Iraq, covering the daily events of conflict is a deadly business. Many reporters are killed in the crossfire, but the vast majority of the slain are murdered. Most are Iraqis trying to tell the story of their own country at war. Terry learned about Khalid Hassan, a 23-year-old reporter for the New York Times. He was shot dead while driving to work. Khalid was only able to call his mother to say goodbye before he succumbed to the bullets. In Bangladesh, Terry ventured into the lawless countryside where the Bengal Mafia control all aspects of life. Terry came here to tell the story of Manik Chandra Chaha, one of the most loved and respected journalists in Bangladesh. Manik exposed murder, rape, and corruption and condemned the impunity of the gangsters. Manik's attacker threw a bomb directly at his head, the mark of a professional assassin. In Colombia, where drug cartels rule and where journalists are considered suicidal, Terry learned about TV reporter Guillermo Brava Vega, marked for death because of his stories on government embezzlers. His assassin sneaked into his house and shot him in the head. Guillermo's wife still waits to see if anyone will be charged. In the Philippines, there is no safe place for reporters. That's the hard lesson for Marlene Garcia Espera. Terry met her grieving family and learned of her courage. Marlene exposed government graft and the officials who stole from the country's agricultural funds. She was murdered in her own house in front of her children. Those who organized her killing are known to the authorities. In fact, they are the authorities. Terry was on a flight to Moscow for an interview with Anna Politkovskaya at the moment she was gunned down in the elevator of her apartment house. Anna covered the bloody war in Chechnya for Novaya Gazeta. Her exposés made her a likely target in Russia's murderous campaign against the truth. Yet Anna persevered, suspecting the consequences. She was mourned by a nation. In Togliatti, called the gangster capital of Russia, Valery Ivanov and Alexei Sidorov were murdered 18 months apart. They'd been covering the collaboration between government officials and organized crime. City councilors applauded their crusading efforts. The mafia had them eliminated. Terry's investigation took nearly 4 years. He had no big news organization to help him, no one watching his back as he traveled through war zones and lawless lands. His wife often heard nothing from him for extended periods. Her only reassurance was to learn that no foreign journalist had been killed in that region on that day. The final product was Terry Gould's book, Murder Without Borders, dying for the story in the world's most dangerous places.
Though every single person he writes about in this book is dead, in some way, when you read the book, he's made this incredible gift to them of bringing not only their work and their aims, but their lives to us. It's pretty hard to feel that you're looking at nasty statistics when you pick up Terry's book and read it. I find it an incredibly inspirational book.
Terry Gould, winner of the 2009 Tara Singh Hire Award.